Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I realize it's been over a few weeks since I've posted a video, and I wanted to be able to get back onto this second installment of getting back under the salary cap. And I realize it's been a while, but I've got busy with a few other different things, and I've been wanting to take a step back from making videos because of other priorities. Plus, I also kind of just came back off of a pretty bad case of the flu, but I'm feeling much better now, and I am basically ready for the combine, the draft, free agency, and everything else that is set to come up in a short while. And right now, I want to be able to get back onto getting back under the salary cap with this last installment, part 2, and we're going to focus solely off the rest of the players, some of the rest of the players who have not got restructures yet. There are 3 guys that have gotten some restructures, starting with Kenny Clark, in which the Packers have been able to save almost $11 million. Aaron Jones was the second guy to restructure, and lastly was David Bakhtiari, in which the Packers have been able to save quite a bit of money, from considering where the Packers started at about $50 million over the salary cap, and right now, as you can see on this screen, is that it has gone down to approximately $30 million, which is better. It's definitely a lot better. There's still a lot of work to do, and I want to be able to get down to that. I know that in the last video, if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out before moving on to this one. And we focus solely on Aaron Rodgers, about how the Packers can trade or extend Aaron Rodgers, in which I don't have those numbers. As you can see, this is his current contract. I'm going to reinsert the values in there, so where about the Packers would possibly land with this hypothetical deal that I did with Aaron. This is probably not going to be the final. This is not going to be the final deal, but I expect it to be pretty close to where the Packers are going to be able to take his base salary, his hefty $26 million base salary, and shrink it down to around $1 million, preferably for the Packers to be able to mitigate this large cap number. So what I'm just going to reinsert those values and then get onto what we can do next. Again, now I got Aaron's details out of the way. This would put this hypothetical deal would put the Packers at approximately just under $7 million worth of cap space, and that saved quite a bit. Just being able to ink Aaron to a new deal would go a long ways away for the Packers, and as Brian Gutekunst said in his recent press conference, it's the first domino, and it's just going to keep the effect going, where the Packers are going to be able to keep doing some more work, getting guys restructured, getting some other guys under some new contracts, and possibly some other deals working in there, perhaps. Who knows what can happen? There could potentially be some re-signs with the Packers being able to getting back under the cap. We can probably work on signing some of our free agents back, our unrestricted, restricted, and exclusive rights guys. That's what we're going to do in this video, is that we're going to focus on the rest of those guys and see what we can do next. One guy that we can probably do some restructuring is with Adrian Amos. As you can see, his base salary, he's got a pretty hefty base of $7 million. We want to be able to take that $7 million and less it to maybe around $1 to $2 million, preferably. I know that's what the Packers are going to be looking to do. So that's what we're going to do hypothetically. We're going to do a restructure where we can take Adrian's base salary, convert it to a signing bonus, and be able to help this team get back up closer to getting back under the salary cap. So what we're going to do for the base salary is that we're going to take that, and we're going to maybe make it $5 million. We're going to take $5 million and convert it to a signing bonus. So we can restructure that way, and that will take Adrian's base salary down to $2 million, which is probably about right around the range of where the Packers are most likely going to be able to do it. Won't surprise me if it's going to be a little bit more, but we'll just do that. And that in turn is going to save some money, worth of that much money, and freeing it up for the Packers to be able to getting closer to being back under the salary cap. Let's see, there's some other guys that are potentially due for some restructures, like we could possibly work on Randall, Billy Turner, Dean Lowry, he's got a pretty hefty base, so we can probably take some of that and cut that down to around 1 to 2 million for each player. Dean Lowry, I think there's always all kinds of talks about some of these guys being cut, but I don't think that the Packers are going to cut Dean because we're already super paper thin on the defensive line, and Dean is one of the very few contributors on our defensive line right now. We have him, we have Kenny under contract, and TJ Slayton, and that's really about all we have. So I don't see Dean being cut, and he has been a pretty good solid starter. He's coming off a pretty good solid year last year where he was instrumental in helping our run defense and being able to provide a little bit of pass rush in a couple of games. So he has gotten a little bit better. So I think we are going to restructure. And let's see if we can try to take this down to approximately 2 million maybe. I think we can probably go to 3.5 million, of which we can convert to a signing bonus. And right now that would put his base at 1.5, with the rest going to a signing bonus. And look at that, the Packers are back under the cap again, 1 million. And that is going to help and go a long ways away, but now that we've got back under the cap, we can still keep working, see what we can do, and we haven't cut anybody yet. But I do believe that we are probably going to have to make some cuts in order for the Packers to be able to work on new contracts with players and signing rookies. So that's just the norm, is that we are probably not going to be able to keep everybody, and because we do have to sign our rookies, we have to sign back some of our free agents that we should definitely be wanting back. Devondre is definitely a big name that we would like to be able to ideally sign to a new contract, a multi-year contract. Rasul Douglas and a bunch of other names, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Those are just a few guys to name. So right now let's get back to the restructures. I think we can probably restructure Billy Turner as well. We can take some of that base and cut it down to around about $1.5 million maybe. I know that he is somebody that we could possibly cut. That could be a possibility if the Packers decide to try to go younger along the offensive line rather than try to stick with some older players. That could be the direction the Packers could be looking to go into, but Billy's been a really good stable presence at right tackle. I think he's done a really good job. Aaron likes Billy, and I think he has his trust on the right side. So I think we can probably see if we can try to do a restructure here to where we can cut this down to a smaller amount of a base salary and convert it to a signing bonus. So let's restructure, and that helps right there. Where now Billy's base is at around 1.5, and there's some other and let's go to Randall. I think that the way I see it with Randall is that I'm just having a hard time seeing Randall being back here in Green Bay, and it's not because of Aaron. I'm pretty sure that Aaron would love to have Randall stick around, but it's the fact that we can save quite a bit of money just by cutting him and not taking very much dead money in the process. The Packers can save almost $7 million worth of money just by outright releasing Randall and only taking $2 million worth of dead money, which is a really, really tiny penalty. And the base salary for Randall's is nearly $8 million. It's a lot. I know that the Packers can do a restructure with Randall, but the way I think about it, you guys, is that I just don't see the Packers rolling with 2 slot receivers when we need some of that money to go towards an outside receiver. We need to be able to use some of that money to potentially bring back Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Alan Lazard, or use some of that money towards a rookie wide receiver. I know that is something that is definitely going to be going in the Packers' minds, is that we can take we just kind of have a 32-year-old Randall who hasn't really been that good. He's been able to give us a few good games, but we do have Amari Rodgers sitting here, and I just don't see the Packers going with 2 slot receivers to start out the year. So I think Randall is most likely going to be the one that is going to be cut. And speaking of older players, Mason Crosby, he's talked about being a candidate for release because we can save a little bit of money. It's a little bit over $2 million, but we'll take $2 million, just about as much with dead money. So that would be, it's a possibility, but I don't think that Mason is going to be cut. He's back. I know the Packers signed a new kicker, Dominic Eberle, but I think this is just competition, and we will find out in training camp to see if, in fact, that the Packers are going to be looking for in a new direction. I think it'll kind of depend on how camp goes. Now I'm going to turn my attention towards the Smith brothers. I know that one of these 2 guys is probably going to be out, and I think that the majority are probably saying that it's going to be Zadarius Smith because the Packers can save $15 million by outright trading or outright releasing him or possibly trading him. I think the Packers are going to look to try to trade Zadarius rather than just outright letting him go for nothing. I think that the Packers can get some value for Z, potentially a draft pick or 2, or possibly a player for a player, or a player for and a draft pick. Zadarius really, he's coming off a really bad situation with his back injury, and it's not really, that's probably going to lessen his value a little bit, but I think Z, even at the age of 30, still has a whole lot left in the tank, and he is going to do very well for whichever team has him, whether if he remains a Green Bay Packer or if he goes to a new football team. Same thing with Preston. Preston is really still still going strong. He is not dealing with any injuries. He's had a really good year, and him and Rashawn Gary have done a really good job together starting for the Packers, and that's why it's going to make it so much easier for the Packers to say goodbye to Z in that regard, because Preston and Rashawn have done a really good job working together as the outside pass rushers. So I think that it's going to be one. I don't think both are going to be. I don't think it's going to be both. I do believe that it's going to be. I think it's going to be Zadarius because the Packers can save more money, but unfortunately take more dead money. It's $12 million worth of dead money, but it's only for 1 year, so it's not too bad. And I just think that Preston, I think he will most likely not really want more money than Z would. Preston has actually taken some pay cuts and earned back some of his money through incentives. I think Preston is the most likely of the 2 to remain here because the Packers are not going to save as much by a trade or a release. And I think that Z provides more value, more trade value than Preston, because I think he is the better player overall, even though he has the unfortunate back injury where his value might be a little bit lessened. So I think the Packers are going to wind up parting ways with Zadarius in the form of a trade or just being flat out released. But let's just say the Packers are going to find a market for Zadarius and they're able to trade him for a draft pick. So I think that's how it's going to go down, is Zadarius will probably be on a new team. And that in turn will put the Packers up to $26 million to the good. So that is going to be helpful in that regard. Now I'd like to be able to go to Preston Smith. I think we can do a restructure here where he has a pretty hefty base salary, where I think we can take that, we can convert it to a signing bonus, and that is how I see things going down with whichever Smith brother we do bring back. It'll be a restructure. So what we're going to do here is going to take this base salary and we're just going to lessen it a little bit. I think we'll probably go with $1,350,000, and then we're going to take that and convert it to a signing bonus. So that will be $7 million worth of a signing bonus that'll be added to his prorated bonus, and I think we'll guarantee I think we're going to guarantee all of this to him. let's guarantee the 14 million, and let's work on it. And that in turn is going to save a little bit of money, a little bit more money for the Packers with this restructure. And there we have it. The Packers now have $26,511,906 left over to sign some of our players back. But the unfortunate thing that I would like to be able to mention to you guys is with the unrestricted free agents, there's not really any options to do anything as far as signing them to contracts. They just give you the franchise tag and the transition tag for each, because these are basically extensions. I know a lot of you are probably wanting me to slap the franchise tag on Davante Adams, but Davante has to want to sign the franchise tag. Just because we give the franchise tag doesn't necessarily mean the player has to accept it. And where I'm thinking things are going for Davante is that I don't think he is going to accept the franchise tag. He has expressed wanting to get paid $30 million per year and be the highest paid wide receiver, so that's a tricky situation in of itself. I'm going to leave that, I'll let that go for now, and I want to be able to bring back some of our free agent players here. First I'll go to Alan Lazard. The options for him are the first round tender, second round tender, and rights of first refusal tender. I think I'd be comfortable with paying the first round tender for Allen. He's gonna be returning to the Packers, I believe, and we're gonna be giving this much amount of money for Allen, in which I think it's a pretty good payday here for Allen. I think he's earned it. And now I'd like to be able to go to our exclusive rights free agents, because they can really come back for pretty dirt cheap contracts under $1 million. So we'll go to Chris Barnes. We'll give him the ERFA tender. So that is $895,000 each. So we will give Chris Barnes that tender, and he is back. Yosh. I think I'll give the tender to Henry Black. He's been able to do quite a bit of things for the Packers. At the very least, he can play special teams pretty well. He has been a nickel safety, and he's actually been a little bit better recently. I think he got better towards the end of the year. Dominic Daphne. Malik Taylor, will be needing him so he can have an outside receiver. Between Randy Ramsey and Chauncey Rivers, I'm having a hard time picking one. I think that one of them is going to be returning. The other one I'm not so sure about. Randy Ramsey didn't even play for the Packers this past season because of a torn ACL, and he was lost for the year. Chauncey Rivers, he showed a little promise as a pass rusher, and then he wound up getting a torn ACL and ending his season. Randy Ramsey has provided some abilities on special teams, so that's what makes me think he might be able to stick. But I think I'll just go with Rivers because of what he can do for the 53-man roster, so I'm going to go with that. And then Hansen, I'll give the tender also. Jake Hansen will provide some depth along the interior offensive line, so that's who I see returning. So those are the signings that I've made so far. Al Lazard with an exclusive rights first round tender, and then I gave all of the exclusive rights free agents except for Randy Ramsey each exclusive rights tenders. I'm pretty sure that they will sign and they'll be back with the Packers. I'm going to skip undrafted or unrestricted free agents because, like I said, all of that has to do with making extensions. And all you have for the options are the tenders, for the franchise tender and the transition tender. As far as I know that everybody here probably wants me to slap the franchise tag on Davante Adams, and there's the $19 million left over for this amount of cap space that we have left. But you guys, there's got to be some cap space left over to sign our rookies. and there could also be potentially some opportunities to maybe sign a player in free agency. So there's also the possibility of Devondre Campbell possibly returning. You know, there are options out there, and just giving Devontae a franchise tag that he may not even want to sign, I don't know. Those are just my thoughts on that. Right now we got this team back under the cap, and we let go of two guys, Randall Cobb and Zadarius Smith, while being able to get Aaron locked up into a new contract. We were able to get some of our free agents back, and that is pretty much how I can see things go down. And this is, like I said, this is to give you guys an idea of how these teams are able to free up the money. It's just simply by taking money from each and everybody's base salary, converting it to signing bonuses, and it's just being able to move money from one place to another. And that is how things are done in the NFL when it comes to dealing with players' contracts and being able to have enough money to go and spend money for the next season. And I will let this one go here, and I'll catch you guys later for another one. Go Pack, go.